with one of the foundational aspect of Vedic studies. Ginny, if you don't mind, will you please close the door? And that foundational aspect is what kind of experience we are having in life. And the answer with any Eastern teachings will give, we are not having a true experience of our existence. We are living in a dream and considering this dream as a reality. This is the foundational aspect of any Eastern teaching. And because this is not a real experience, we continue to have nightmares. And we buy into those nightmares. These nightmares are called the suffering of mankind. So it doesn't matter which kind of teaching you study, you will find that the reason we need to be awakened is because we are having a nightmare experience. So let me ask you this question now, you will understand what point I'm trying to make. If you are having a nightmare, what are you going to do? How are you going to resolve your problem if you are having a nightmare?
Wake yourself up. Or realize you're dreaming.
That's a waking up. The moment you realize you're dreaming, you're awake.
Well,
you're in awake
yeah.
state consciousness.
But then you could wake up.
Don't complicate. Don't complicate. Okay? Keep it simple.
Right.
The whole goal is waking up. So the reason the teachings are required, the reason we are participating, is to be awake. And unless we are not awake, we are going to have the suffering of mankind. What is suffering of mankind? How does it feel? It feels like a roller coaster ride. Suffering is nothing else but these highs and lows of our emotions. Because that emotions come into our physical existence. If you ask any higher consciousness which are evolved level, what destroys mankind, they will say that the emotions of mankind destroys them, because we become our emotions, and emotions are not our reality. In a sense, we become those nightmares, and nightmare is not our reality. We have entirely a different existence. But if you identify with nightmare, what is going to happen? You're going to sweat. Your heart is going to palpitate faster. All kinds of situation in the physical body will come because you buy into that nightmare. So this is the idea of suffering. Suffering is our ignorance. So there are 5 basic reasons of sufferings that Vedanta gives. 5 main reasons. And they are very important for us to keep in mind. The first is ignorance. We really do not know who are we. We have no idea. And the interesting thing is that all the other things that we consider that we know, that can be doubted. Pay attention. Everything else other than I can be doubted, but I cannot be doubted. And we have no idea what is I. You can doubt all ideology, you can doubt all beliefs, you can doubt even the stimulation which is coming to your brain through your senses, you can doubt it. Do you know that your brain can create different kinds of picture other than what is exactly happening? Do you know that you can lie in a bathtub in a cold water and your brain will interpret that you are in a hot water tub? It can be trained. It can be fooled very easily. Our senses lie. They can be tricked. So the point you have to understand that we have no idea what this I is. And no belief system is going to tell you what is that I. Because if a belief system is going to tell you what is that I, what will that be? It will be an information. It would not be your knowledge. Knowledge is different than information. So here is a one experiment that you will do from tomorrow or maybe today after the class. Try to figure out what is your information and what is your knowledge. And most of the things that you say is your knowledge is not a knowledge, it is an information. And we create a big hoopla in our existence based on that information, and we fight to the teeth for that information. Information is information. It's not a big deal. It can be used. It can be used rightly, it can be used wrongly. But it is not your reality. And how do we get information? Who provides the information? Since the time we are born, we are fed with the information. No reasoning ability is taught. And if no reasoning ability is taught and no reasoning ability is used in our life, we can never reach to this I, the experience of I. So during this class, during the Vedanta class, the whole idea is how to pierce through our conditioning of our belief system, conditioning of our information, and come to have some kind of a realization within oneself. The discussion will provide an impetus to really question everything in your existence. So give me an example. What is information which you have considered your knowledge?
Your voice.
Well, that's information. But in a very mundane and a very day-to-day experiential basis, all our thinking are based on that information. So you can take any part of your thinking, whether it is based on a religious aspect, whether it is based on educational aspect, whether it is based on a social expectation. Like for example, if I work hard, I will make a lot of money. This idea is also an information. It is a conditioning projected by a certain social structure. It's very hard to really segregate because it has become so much upon ourselves, it has conditioned so much that we consider, oh, I know money will make me happy. I know money will make me happy. Is this a knowledge or is this an information that money will make me happy?
It's an idea.
It's an information.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to segregate how many information that we have been carrying in our mind. Because unless we don't accept the ignorance aspect of ourselves, we will never have this journey to begin with. So the first premise is I'm ignorant. I accept I'm ignorant. I know nothing. Because basically everything which I know is taught by our parents, taught from our school, forced from a social expectations. I remember growing up in India, this is 15 years ago. In that social structure where I was growing up away, that the idea was, oh, Americans, they are amazingly happy people because they have money. It doesn't matter with whom you talk, everybody is going to have the same answer. Americans are great. They have a great life. They're happy people. They have money. When I came here, of course, I had a different idea already to begin with, but I did not know that people are so unhappy here. So the point, what did I incorporate? What was the experiential gain? That money really doesn't make happy. but the idea continues to exist. Social expectation, marriage, it's a social expectation. So we have this idea that I have to have a partner in my life, otherwise my life is incomplete. Is this a knowledge or is that information that I have bought into it? And if you have bought an information for a really long time, then you consider that, oh, I know. And this I know is more dangerous than the people who are totally fool and they know about their folly. We are all fool, but the fools are divided in two sectors. The fools who say I know, and the fools they agree that I know nothing. Nobody is wise yet unless we have recognition of who is this I. So Vedanta is going to provide an impetus to find who is this I. So we have to drop everything what we have up to really imagined. What is this I? So first thing first, suffering because we are ignorant. And if we are ignorant, we have no idea what is this I, what tendency do we have in our mind? What do we want to do? We want to latch on to anything that we can find outside of ourselves. And that latching on is called ego. That latching on to something external is called false ego. In other words, identification. With what do you identify? Pay attention. With what do you identify? All your identifications are lie, by the way, because they are all objective. So I identify as a male. See, this is a biggie. You identify as a woman. This is a false identification because it's a body. Body is being expressed as a male or female. It's a different story. This is a cup, and cup is not me. I'm either carrying in this cup a tea or coffee or milk. It can contain anything, but it's a cup. It's not me. How do I know that this is a cup and it's not me? On what ground do I have this knowledge that this is not me?
Information.
It's not an information, it's an experiential basis. On what ground? Ground is here because you can see,
You can touch it.
you can touch it, you can use it. Anything that can be seen cannot be I, because I has to be the user of what is being used. I has to be the user of what is being used. Please remember, I has to be the user of what is being used. Subject is always the user. Object is always to be used. If a subject identifies with object, subject is unable to grow and mature and subject remains inert. Nothing is happening. You think that you're moving, but you're like a rat in a cage and going in a circle. Nothing is changing. Nothing is evolving. So I'm using my hands. I'm using my legs. I say to my legs to go left, and the legs follow the order and it goes left. I say to legs go right, and the legs follow the order and goes right. So am I my physical body or I am the user of the physical body? User. This is a very foundational aspect to really understand where is our false ego. Because remember, ignorance is in the foundation. It creates, what does it create? It creates identification. If you do not know who you are, naturally you will identify to whatever you are going to experience. It's a natural tendency of a mankind. So I gave you a very difficult example that we identify with our physical